You are in tune to the Cowboys, the Cowboys Global Cast here at We Are DC4L. That is We Are DC4L. We are Dallas Cowboys for life. It's the Cowboys Global Cast, and of course, you got your main two hosts, myself and Tom. Tom, what's up, man?
Yo, what's going on, man? Just ready to talk about them Dow boys.
Hey, the Cowboys, man. We need to get on them Cowboys. Uh, Listen, man. You know, sometimes I got to get hooked on phonics. It is what it is. Um, Listen, so we've had OTAs over with. Mini camp is now over with. Mini camp just concluded last week, right?
Yep.
So I'm excited, man, only because, July the 22nd or 20, July 20th in that range, we got actual training camp. We got
Yeah.
action. People
It's
report.
close.
Yeah,
It's
man.
close.
Yeah, they reporting the training camp, and we got action. It is
Yep.
what it is. I'm
Yep.
I'm be excited about that. But let's talk about some of the takeaways from OTAs, from minicamp, and let's be clear. Minicamp OTAs is basically the beginning of them putting in plays, right? OTA stands for Tom.
What was it? Off-season team activities or something like that, or
It's voluntary, but yes, off-season team activities, right? And then we have minicamp. Minicamp is not voluntary, but we have everybody in, and of course, nobody's hitting, nobody is in pads, nobody is out there, trying to be really physical, quote unquote, air quotes for you guys who are listening. And they're not really trying to be physical, but they're showing what they can do in the position and making sure that they got all of the spots and the offense and defense in, so that when they show up for a training camp, it's about that life. You know what I'm saying? So realistically, that is the beginning of where we're at with minicamp. So we've got some players that actually shined. The first one I want to talk about, Brandin Cooks. Brandin
yeah,
Cooks shined in minicamp. And the thing that you want to see when you're in 7-on-7 drills, you need to understand this. In 7-on-7 drills, wide receivers, running backs, that's what you're going to be looking at. You know what I'm saying? And defensive backs and linebackers, you're going to be looking at them, see how they react, see how they move, see how fast they are, all those good kind of things. That's what you're looking at. This is what's happening. And Brandin Cooks has showed that he still got that speed, y'all. He still got that juice in the tank, man. What you think about Brandin Cooks, man? Are you excited?
yeah. Well, first off, just generally, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, we're not going to know a whole lot about a lot of these guys until they get the pads on. But I think it's easier with wide receivers and cornerbacks. I think more of what you see without the pads, translates. Like, again, it's not. We need to see him with the pads on. But hey, we knew who Brandin Cooks was, right? I think it's different. Even these guys that maybe play, against him once a year. It's until you see him every day in practice. I don't think that you're really getting the full picture of who he is as a player. And I mean, he's consistently good for 1,000. Like, if he's playing a full season, he's getting 1,011, 1,200 yards like every single year. Like, this dude is a really good receiver. I mean, I fully expect him to step in and have a great year. And so I'm not in the least bit surprised to hear that he's, turning heads, at camp. But I don't think he's going in and doing anything above and beyond what he's done his entire career. I think it's just a matter of, guys that haven't ever played with him getting eyes on him every day. So
I absolutely
it's great.
agree.
Great to hear, and the least surprising development of OTAs, in my opinion.
But I absolutely agree with what you're saying, man. I mean, it's one thing to see the speed on tape, but to get it up close and personal and see that, man, this guy got juice in the legs. And he got, to Tom's point, bruh, he got 1,000 yards with some whack quarterbacks. I mean, he did it with not so great quarterbacks. So, I mean, if he can do it, that means he's getting open, and that's the thing that we like to see. He's getting open. And if you're getting open on our cornerbacks, you're doing something. You know what I'm saying? Because we really have a doomsday defense over there. So that's the first player talking about, man. And he caught a couple of touchdowns from Dak. Second player, man, Jalen, man. Listen, Jalen's last name, I always lose it. Tolbert. There we go. Jalen Tolbert, man. Because we got like 78 Jalen's on the team.
Yeah, the last name is important to know when it comes with to the Jalen's, right?
Jalen, right? Yeah. So, but they're calling him the most improved player in camp. Listen, I want to see. I'm anxious to see what people are seeing in Jalen Tolbert. Like for real. Like I mean, I'm not even being facetious when I say this. J- I mean, first and foremost, they're fighting. Him and Simi are fighting for receiver number 4. They're fighting for that position. Michael Gallup's number 3. Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Top 3 is solidified. Like we know who
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3
All
are.
right,
We
cool.
know who they are.
So we're good, right? So
Right.
they're fighting for number 4, and they're saying Jalen is coming for that spot. He is not letting Simi have it. He's closing practices with big catches, running routes, and I think this is the thing that Mike McCarthy wanted to do offensively, bro. Like I think he wanted to make sure that everybody knew their place, knew their positions, and this is not an offense that's guessing coming into training camp. What do you think about that, bro? What do you think about Jalen Tolbert and Mike?
Yeah. So, well, I think it's very important that somebody claims that 4th spot, whether it's Jalen, whether it's Simi. I don't think it's likely, that it's going to be a Dennis Houston or, one of these, the guy that we drafted late, and we picked up a couple more, as undrafted free agents. I'm not expecting any of those guys to step in,
Jalen
in
Brooks
the 4th
is another
spot.
Jalen.
Yeah, but I'm not expecting that he's going to be, he's going to be the type of guy that has the kind of success in his first season to justify, being a 4th receiver on this team. I think it's like we need Simi and we need Jalen to step up, and they're as unproven gets, right? With Jalen, I feel like that we've kind of had to reset what our expectations are and sort of reset what we define, what we would define as being a successful second season. If before last season, if you had said, second year, he's going to be the 4th receiver on the team and he's going to, catch 50 balls and, for 400 yards or, whatever, something like that. We'll say 400 yards. You wouldn't say that's a bust, but you would say that's a disappointment, right? For a guy that was drafted in the 3rd round. But at this point, considering he barely saw the field last season, if he's to step up and sort of become that clear-cut 4th option, and assuming, those top 3 guys are healthy, so that he's, such that he's truly getting, 4th wide receiver targets, and he has a 400-yard season. I mean, to me, that's fantastic. Like, we need a guy who can get 300, 400, 500 yards in that 4th spot. And then if Gallup gets hurt, if CD misses time, if Brandin Cooks misses time, somebody that can step in and sort of not be a Pro Bowler, but sort of serviceably, fill that hole. Because at this point, we got CD and Brandin Cooks who are more than proven. Michael Gallup, who's a proven guy, but he's coming off an injury and he's in a bad return year, right? And then after that, it's literally guys that have basically never seen the field, right?
Absolutely,
I mean, it's a bunch of guys. So one of those guys has to be the guy.
And I love what you're saying, man. That 4th receiver spot, somebody stepping up and claiming it, and not us giving it to somebody. It's different.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I 100% agree with you on that. Now we come to the offensive line. We want the first 5, the best 5 to start. And it's this whole thing with Tyler going into the guard.
Yeah.
And we keeping out Tyron at tackle, and then Terrence at the other tackle, and then of course Zach Martin at the other guard. And let's go. No, I'm sorry. Biotish at the center, right? So Tom, I need your help. I mean, I love Tyler's attitude about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Tyron has been hurt the last 5 years.
Yeah, no, I get it.
What do you think we should do quickly? What do you think we should do with this tech? Should we keep Tyler at guard and then, whatever happens with Tyron swinging back out, or I mean, because he's a young guy and we want him to get comfortable, right? Like, you tell me.
Yeah, no, I think that's a consideration that you have to make, right? And I feel like you often see, and as Cowboy fans, we have a little experience, with this. Like I'm assuming everybody else does, and that's you have to think long term, right? And you have to think, well, yeah, this guy could probably play in this spot if he was getting regular snaps there, but can he play that spot if he starts off the year in this case at left guard, and that player being Tyler Smith, and then we have to move him out to left tackle. I mean, that's not an easy position to play. And I think that most guys can't do that well. But I mean, Tyler Smith has pretty much shown that he can, right? I mean, like he played both spots last year and he played them both. I mean, I would say he played both of them well, as a rookie. And so I think ideally we have guys in those spots that, we have a guy solidified in all 5 spots. We know we can depend on them. We know they're not going to get hurt. But I feel like even being in the position that we're being in, and you're right that we can't trust Tyron, but like, I just feel like I feel like Tyler would do fine. Like, even if he starts at left guard and then you just slide him out there, like he showed last year he can do it. As a rookie, he showed that. And so as a second-year player, with most offensive line groups, I would say no. But with this one, I would say I'm completely comfortable with it. Like, I'm not worried about, is Tyler going to be able to effectively play left tackle if throughout the preseason he's getting, almost exclusively left guard snaps, and then Tyron gets hurt 2 games into the season. Like, I have complete confidence that Tyler can just slide right out there and do just fine. So I do think that it's totally reasonable to think that it's really risky, having Tyron out there and that he's, a big injury risk. And I honestly don't know what's going to happen with his health, but I think you just get the best 5 out there, and this gets the best 5 out there. And I mean, we've been saying this for months now, that we think that this is it's a little scary, but like, and I think,
Tyron at 80% of Tyron is still better than the majority of left tackles in this league. Yes.
Yeah. I still think like he's no longer like all pro, like Tyron Smith, like even when he's healthy, but I still think he's a good left tackle.
I still say he's like in the top 12,
I would say that.
Top 12, top 13 tackles in the league. I mean, he's good. Like, he's really good. He's solid. You can depend on him. You know what I'm saying? When he's not hurt. You know what I'm saying? So that leads me to our tight end position. Now, I'm just gonna say we have a tight. I'm gonna go ahead and show this picture for the people online. We have a tight. And when I look at it, I'm looking at Peyton Hendershot. I'm looking at look at him. We're looking at Peyton Hendershot. We're looking at Ferguson. We're looking at Shoemaker. We're looking at I forgot the 4th guy. Is a type.
Sean McKeon.
Sean McKeon. They all look alike, right? They all look alike. The play, I think, is going to be separated. Yeah, we got a type, man. We definitely got a type. We look for him. You know what I'm saying? Like a guy at the club, he looks for the blonde. We got a type. We have a type for tight end. The one thing I can say to you guys is this. Shoemaker, Luke, what they've been saying about Luke Shoemaker is that he's deceptively fast. He gets in the scene, and he's going to do more than you think he can do, right? So these are the words that we're getting back. We know what we get from Jake Ferg. We know what we get from Jake Ferguson, man. And Peyton Hendershot, he's your 3rd tight end. Your 4th tight end after Luke. But look, I'm just gonna tell you, man. Well, no, he's 3rd. I'm gonna tell you, I'm not scared about this tight end position. What about you, man? How do you feel about this in the mini camp and seeing everybody? Of course, Luke is in the boot now, but that's nothing. He'll be out of that by spring camp. But how do you feel about the tight end group?
Yeah, I think I feel pretty good about it. I think that it starts with Jake Ferguson, and it might seem strange, and it probably is to talk about Jake Ferguson the way that we do, and I hear a lot of other Cowboy fans sort of talk about him in a similar way, just having a lot of confidence that we've got something good in this guy. And I mean, he didn't even catch 20 balls last year. 19 catches, 174 yards, but like you just kind of liked what you saw when he was out there, right?
Absolutely.
And like the couple of games that Dalton was out, like he didn't light it up. He had like I think 30 yards receiving in a game and 40 yards in another, and like, but if you have a rookie and it's only 2 games, like it's a small sample size, but you might look at that and say that's not a good game. If you get 40 yards a game, like as a rookie, tight end, like that's excellent. And again, I know we're only talking 2 games, but it just seemed like when he was out there that Dak was comfortable, like looking for him. He looked sure-handed. Those 19 catches came on only 22 targets. He's solid in the run game in terms of his run blocking. I
feel
just
comfortable with him, right?
I feel comfortable with him. Like I think I feel like his floor is going to be like pretty close to like an average, tight end in the league. I feel comfortable in saying that like he's at a minimum going to go and get 500-600 yards and maybe 700-800, receiving. And so I don't know what to think about Schoonmaker being in a boot. I don't like it. It's not good, but they got him in the second round. They think a lot of him. He's got great pass catching ability. It's probably going to be a solid blocker at the very least. I don't
4,
think
5, 8, 40.
Yeah. I mean, what's the RAS, the raw athletic score? He's got like one of the best all time, for tight ends. Yeah. I mean, I feel pretty good about the tight end group. I think that regardless of what Schoonmaker's health situation is right now, I think that we do need to temper expectations on like what we actually think that this guy, even if he's healthy, is going to do in his rookie year. Because you even look at like first round tight ends in the last like 10 years. And like we've talked about how it's hard to hit on one, but like even the guys who first round guys who like turn into, like pretty good tight ends, almost none of them have even 500-600 yard seasons as rookies. It's like Kyle Pitts, he went for over 1,000 his rookie year. And then I think there's like one other guy that had like 600, and everybody else, it's like $150, 200, 300 yards. Like that's pretty much what you get from a rookie tight end. It's obviously not an easy position to learn to play in the NFL. So I'm expecting
it's block heavy, right?
Yep.
And then you have to know how to get into the soft spots of a defense, which is not an easy feat, right? Defensive scheme, they scheme to make it hard for you to find a soft spot.
Yeah, and then the quarterback has to sort of see things the way that you do also, and trust that you're going to find those spots. He doesn't want to waste a read on you if he can't trust you to find a soft spot. I don't think that this is a group that's going to like light everybody up. It's not an exciting group like to me, but I feel like it's a solid one. Like we've got guys that can go out and get a job done. So it's not a group I'm worried about.
Switching gears. Last position on offense. Tony Pollard is a lock. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, were we talking about like to make the roster? Or are we talking about
Tony
as
Pollard's
number
a
one
lock
as the guy?
To make the roster. He's number one. He's that guy.
Yeah.
Number 2, everybody keeps talking about Deuce, right? Everybody keeps talking about Deuce Vaughn. I can't see the Cowboys cutting him. And we're on a 90-man roster. We have 88 men on that roster right now, right? Mm-hmm. But we got to cut to 53, right? So you're only going to keep 4 running backs on the team. Let's look at this. Tony Pollard is our number 1. Everybody's not talking about cutting Deuce. Deuce is probably going to make the team, right? So here's the 3 question marks for me. But before I get to those 3 question marks, let's say it with our chest. Hunter Lipke's gonna make the 53-man roster, man. They're gonna be able to kind of.
It looks like it.
Yeah, and I think what they're gonna end up doing, because McCarthy was even saying we want to use him in short yardage. I think they may list him as a tight end and keep him, and list him as because you can run him at H-back, right? And
yeah,
you know,
I think so. I feel like that was kind of his profile. That was part of his profile. You know, whenever. When they signed him, that was what I was reading a lot. I haven't heard a lot of that in the last, since I haven't heard a lot of that during OTAs. But yeah, I mean, I think that's something he can do.
Yeah, I mean, so just listening to minicamp talk, right? Everybody saying, you use him as a lead backer and H-back, sneak him out the backfield. He can catch, and after he catches, rack is important, and this guy can run after he gets the ball, right? So that's a running back, but let's say they keep him at tight end. Let's say they keep him on the roster as a tight end, but he's gonna play running back. But let's say we only got 4 spots, so we won't include Hunter. But we got Rico Dowdell, we got Malik Davis, and we have Ronald Jones, right?
Yep.
Somebody's the odd man out, bro.
Yep.
Who? I mean, think about in your assessment. Who do you think? I'll tell you mine. You tell me yours. In my assessment, I think the odd man out is unfortunately going to be Rico Dowdell. I don't think they brought Ronald Jones in. It would be news if they cut Ronald Jones. Right? It would be big news. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if it'd be big news, but I think there's some fans out there that think if you go and sign somebody in free agency, then that means they're not getting cut, and that's not true at all.
No,
We've seen it happen.
It's not true. But my guy is Rico. Tom, on you.
Yeah. So this is kind of a weird hypothetical. I'm gonna call it a weird hypothetical because I don't think that. Lipke, whatever. I don't think that they're going to carry him as a tight end. I don't think he's going to be one of the 4 tight ends. I think they'll carry 4 tight ends, and I don't think he'll be one of the 4. I don't think they'll list him as a tight end if they carry him. I think he'll be one of the 4 running backs. But in this hypothetical, he's the 4th tight end. Sean McKeon gets cut. He's the 4th tight end, and so we've got these 3 guys left. Malik, Rico, and Ron. Who's getting cut? I think you're probably right. I think it's probably Rico. But I think that if we carry Lupke as a running back, and I agree with you that Deuce, I think he's a lock, right? So I think Tony's an absolute lock, right? I mean, obviously. And Deuce, I think, is a lock. And if they're also carrying, if he's going to be one of those 4,
that's 3.
Then I think Ron Jones will be the one who gets cut.
Yeah. Wow.
I think he'll be the one who gets cut.
I mean, I listen. I would be surprised, but I could see it though. I'm not even tripping on your pick because I could really see that happening, and it's sad to think, but it's true though, right?
Yeah, and so here's the thing. I think that another big thing that I think this hinges on is I think Deuce Vaughn definitely makes the team, but if he makes the team as like the 4th guy who's not really who's only getting carries and mop up, or if somebody gets hurt, then I think I think Ron Jones definitely makes the team. I think Ron Jones only makes the team as the 2nd back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but
he only makes the team as the number 2 back. I don't
think he could take it from Malik though.
Yeah, to me, if they don't think Deuce Vaughn is the number 2 back, can be the number 2 back, then I think Ron Jones makes the team as the 2nd back. But I don't think they're gonna carry Ron Jones as like the 4th guy who comes in and mop up. Like I think you always keep around some young guy, as sort of a development project like type guy or whatever. Like I don't think that, because you can always go get a vet. It's like if somebody got hurt, if Tony Pollard gets hurt or whatever, and like you really need like a real vet that you can depend on and you know what you're getting week to week, then there's gonna be Ronald Jones types sitting on the couch. Like there's a bunch of those guys unsigned right now.
Yeah, I get it.
So I think Ron Jones is definitely like he's a cut candidate, but I think it depends on whether or not what Deuce does in training camp.
Ronald, I'm sorry. I did. Ronnie, I'm sorry.
Hey,
I kept you, Ronnie. It wasn't me. That was Tom. If you're hearing this, Ronnie, he didn't believe it. I believe it. But you know what? I gotta say this: when the pads gets on, who looks the same? Who is the same type of back, but who's better at being the same type of back? Rico Dowdell and Deuce Vaughn are the same back. Same back. Both small, right? Both small in stature. Yeah. Both a scat back and can hide. Only difference is Rico's been around this team for 3 years. Right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, Deuce is he's the pick, so he's the family pick. I just didn't. That's why I went with Rico. That's exactly why I went with Rico.
Yeah, but I mean, like Rico's had injury issues too. Like everything that I've ever read says that the coaches, that the organization, but primarily the coaches, like really like him. Of course, we say things like this. It's like we get online and read, the coaches, they really like this guy. Like, what are they going to say? Like, yeah, no, I don't like him. He sucks. Like, they're not going to say that about anybody. But it does seem like that they like Rico. But it's hard to know what you have with him because he's spent so much time injured.
He's always hurt. The best ability is availability.
Yeah,
we all know that. Yeah. So real quick on the defensive side of the ball, we've talked about this before. Isaiah Land's looking really flashy, really, really flashy. We like that. We're nobody's really saying anything about Mozzie because, of course, we haven't been able to be physical, so you don't really get a chance to see that. Yeah, you don't get a chance to see that physicality. And linebackers get the linebacking when you get the pads on as well. But good news is they say Jabril Cox looks like the Jabril Cox that they brought in, the one who's fast, quick, who can get to the ball, who recognizes things, who's playing downhill. But again, we got to see that. And, Jabril has to compete with other LSU back who came in and showed what he could do really, really early. That's his starting job over there. And, LVE, of course, is a dog. So what do you think, man? Are you hopeful that you're going to see the Jabril Cox we wanted, or you think it's fool's gold because we don't have
I'm not. I'm not hopeful. I'm not hopeful. Now, how's that for a take?
Yeah.
No, I am not. Now, I'm not saying that he can't make this team because I feel like this is not one of the more difficult linebacking groups to make the team. On, I don't think that's really the right way to formulate that, but I don't think that this is one of the best linebacking groups. One of the better linebacking groups in the league. I think that LV and Damone are penciled in, and I think after that there's a lot of question marks. Like I think there are a lot of people that have Overshown, penciled in as that next guy, and I don't think that that's. I mean, if I had to guess, I'm guessing that he's going to be that third guy, but I don't think it's a given by any means. Like I could see it being him. I could see it being Jabril. I could see it being Devin Harper. I could see it being, some guy that, that they bring in.
Another linebacker, and he was, from his highlights, he was a monster. Goodness gracious, he was a free agent, an unsigned free agent. Just a monster. I think it was from South Carolina, if I'm thinking right. But just a big brute. Come in, hit you in the mouth, you know what I'm saying? Undo your chin strap kind of guy. But I don't know, I can't say to you without, smiling a little bit. I'm hopeful that Jabril can make the team. I don't know that he will. I don't
And
know
you know
that he
what?
will, but I'm very hopeful. I want him to.
Maybe Mozzie, like day one of camp, is just it's so obvious that this guy. I mean, like I would be very surprised if he's not this, starting at one of the three technique spots. First game. Like I think Hankins. I think it's Osa and Mozzie. Like that's who I expect the guys to be. Like I expect Hankins I think Hankins coming out. I think
in mini they had Hankins and Mozzie.
And I was gonna say, like, I do think that there will be a lot of games where both of them start. I think it'll depend on the team, that they're playing, and who knows, maybe that's what happens the majority of the time. I'm not sure, but I think Mozzie is going to be the clear cut lead dog among the three techniques, on the team, and I mean that's basically everybody. But who knows? Like maybe Mozzie comes in day one and is just like completely freeing up some of these undersized linebackers, that we have, like Jabril, who haven't really. Maybe Jabril just needs somebody like that. Needs to play behind somebody like that in order to shine. Like maybe because we haven't, had guys, keeping the linebackers clean, that's just been exposing guys like Jabril, and maybe Jabril can separate himself and shine in his own right, if he's being kept clean, in training camp. And so I'm not going to rule it out. It's just like I want to believe all the optimistic things that I read about this guy or that guy. I know this guy's in the best shape of his career. He's spent the off season. Spent tons of time in the off season and with the playbook. Yada yada, like whatever. He's eating right, he's training right, but like the fact remains, like Jabril has gotten hardly any snaps in his first 2 years, and so
I mean, I said his name, and you laughed at me. I said his name, you like Jabril cock. You know what I'm saying? I felt bad for bringing it up. You know what I'm saying?
It makes me like I always feel like I'm that guy. Like, did you ever see Moneyball? Brad Pitt like plays the Oakland A's like GM,
yeah,
or whatever. And like, he's in the room with all the scouts, and like they're trying to, it's toward the beginning of the movie, and they're trying to figure out, how they replace like Johnny Damon, these players that they lost from their good, this good team that they had the previous season. And the scout's like, yeah, this guy, like he's a good hitter, and Brad Pitt, playing Billy Bean is like, if he's a good hitter, why doesn't he hit good? And like sometimes I feel like that guy in these situations where it's like, if he's good, if he's as good as we were hearing that he is, every year, why isn't he playing? Like, because to me, his playing time tells me the coaches who know better than anybody whether or not this guy's actually good and can play. It tells me that they don't think he's good because he's not playing at all.
Man. So speaking of not good, our last subject here before we get off. Oh man, Mike McCarthy has been talking about him, but that don't mean nothing because we ain't heard Dan the Man with the plan. We ain't heard him say anything. But Mike McCarthy has definitely shot out Boss Man Fat a couple times in saying that he's improved.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, man. They said that he done left a lot of his friends alone, and he's done focused on football, and maybe so, man. I mean, maybe honestly, man, his sample size was big enough to where I think he's just hot garbage. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, and if you hear this, I said it with my chest. I think you're hot garbage. You can't cover a wet paper towel, a blanket. Can't cover a kid with a blanket. I mean, it's bad. Like, for real, it's one of them things where I don't trust you on any island, not at all. All right? Fantasy Island, Toy Island, Misfit Toy Island. I don't trust you on it. I don't trust you on it for real. But they saying that he looks good. They're saying he looks good. He's improving, and he's improved by leaps and bounds, and he can play safety. Tom, what do you think, man? Because I just, like, he doesn't get my vote of confidence. He gets my vote. I would vote him off of the island. Like I said, he doesn't belong on any of these islands with me, and I would vote him off. But, hey, I want to hear your opinion.
Yeah, so if it comes down to him and Nashawn, and I mean, I feel like I'm not positive that I haven't wavered on this, but I'm pretty sure I've been consistently saying, like, if it comes down to him and Nashawn, like, I get at this point that Nashawn's floor is higher, but if we're talking about a guy who isn't super likely to even, be playing a lot, I'd rather have a guy with a lot of upside. And Kelvin Joseph, he's got so much more upside than Nashawn Wright, in my opinion. And so, like, it's a little late. It's a little late in the. Yes, like, he does. I mean, this guy. What I mean, Nashawn. What was he, like, 5th round, something like that? Like, he definitely wasn't a 3rd rounder earlier. Like, he might have been 4th round. Like, I think he was 5th round though. I don't know. He wasn't 3rd round, was he? Oh, my keyboard's not working. So Kelvin Joseph. I mean, he was a guy that year he was drafted. There was a lot of scouts, if I remember, prognosticators rather. I don't know if you call them scouts, who had 1st round grades, on him. Like, he wasn't like top end of the draft like guy or anything, but there were a lot of people that considered him to be a late 1st round talent, right? The only reason.
But, I mean, I'm like the quote, the Brad Pitt quote within. Why isn't he doing it then? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't.
Well, so that's more easy. That's easier to explain. It's like with Jabril.
Why didn't he 1st round in it?
That's a fair question. That's a fair question. To me, here's how it's different. Here's how it's different between him and Jabril. It's because with like a guy like Jabril, if I say, so what's wrong? Is he, is he lazy? Is he not working? Like, what is he making bad choices? Like, off the field? No, he's doing all those things right. All right, well, if he's doing everything right in terms of his preparation, in terms of, his commitment and all those things, like, and he's just not good, well, you're not really giving me much hope that he can turn it around, right? But with a guy like Kelvin Joseph, if I'm saying, why isn't this guy seeing the field when he is on the field? Like, why isn't he, why is he getting toasted? Every single time, it seems like he gets isolated. Oh, well, he's just been a complete knucklehead. He hasn't been committed. And I'm not saying like, oh, well, let's just hang on to everybody who's got talent that is, not committed to the team. Like, no, that's dumb. But like, what I hear is that there's reason to hope that somebody can turn things around. I don't think there's much hope left because this is his 3rd season, right? It's like, we can't wait forever. You can say all the right things, but until you actually like show up and do what you say you're going to do, then it's just empty promises, right?
I mean, Tom, man, look, he even made bonehead plays on specialty. Like I said,
dude, I completely agree. But we're talking about like the 5th or 6th cornerback spot, right? Like, that's what we're talking about. Like, we're not talking about if we're talking about the battle for like the 3rd corner spot or whatever, then I'm just like, if he's either gonna be the 3rd corner or get cut, then cut him because I don't trust him. But like, Nashawn, I don't think is ever gonna be a starting cornerback in this league. Like, Kelvin Joseph, he could be.
I don't know.
Because he has the talent and the upside. So if you're telling me this guy has his head screwed on straight, he's doing everything right, his arrow is pointed up, then like, he's not causing a disturbance in the locker room. And like, we've got 4 guys ahead of him that are going to be getting all the snaps anyway, then hold on to him.
Well, Eric Scott Jr. and Brooks are making pushes. And I think they're going to push him out the way, honestly. I believe that Dan found some jewels in this draft, and he's going to use. But like I said, minicamp is minicamp. We're just talking about read and react, 7-on-7. We're going to see. When you strap them up, lace them up, which is coming in July. When you strap them up and lace them up, let's see if, you're a dog and you can hunt. That's when it's really going to matter. That's when it's really going to matter. Tom, final thoughts, man, before we get out of here.
I don't really have anything. I'm just ready for these guys to put the pads on. Like, it all, spring long, it feels like training camp is just so far away and it's never going to get here. And, like, we're 6 weeks away? Is that
barely,
what?
Yeah, barely. It's
6 weeks away, month and a half.
It's June 12th right now.
Yeah, so I'm just really excited for these guys to get the pads on. Enjoying doing the podcast with you. Really enjoyed all the draft prep and especially when the draft actually went down, and we're kind of starting to get into that period where I'm starting to get a little antsy, starting to get a little anxious, and just kind of treading water until training camp gets here. These guys, it's a little hard for me to get excited when they don't have the pads on yet. It's sometimes it feels like a bunch of propaganda. So yeah, for what it's worth, I don't know if that's a bona fide like parting shot, but I'm ready for training camp, man.
Well, my parting shot is, if we're in the top 10 in offense, pencil us into the Super Bowl. I'm just saying it. I mean, this defense is not going to be any worse than it was last year. It's actually probably going to be way better, which should be scary, right? I mean, we made changes in the offseason to make the defense better at stopping the run, which was our Achilles heel, right? You've got arguably one of the best players in the game defensively in Michael Parsons. And you picked up a Stephon Gilmore as a cornerback, and you already had a really good cornerback in Trey Diggs over on the other side. You've got 3 just really good, solid, professional safeties, not college safeties, professional guys. And Malik Hooker and my God, 27, what's his name? Guys, I set up in here and drew a blank. We got 3 really good safeties, 27, 6 Wilson, and Malik Hooker. Go ahead.
Jaron Curse? That's who?
Jaron
Curse?
Yeah. Jaron Curse. So we got 3 really good safeties. And then you got Jordan Lewis, you got Deron Bland.
Yeah.
You still have some help over here at corner. Man, listen, and then you got Mazi. The defense is going to be 18 points a game. If this offense can be top 10 and put up 27 to 30 a game, pencil us in the Super Bowl.
No. So here's the thing. They're going to be a top 10 offense. Like you want something you can pencil in, like they're going to be a top 10 offense. Like there's no question in my mind about that. The thing is like, so like you watch some of these NBA teams, they shoot the 3, they can get into the paint, they can draw 2, they can kick to the corner, they can knock the 3 down. And then they get into a playoff series against one of these teams that's got multiple guys that can protect the paint. They have versatile defenders that can switch. They close out on shooters at the 3-point line. And now it's like, all right, like this is what you do. You shoot layups and 3-pointers. And like that's where the league is at like right now, right? But now whenever you're facing like a lockdown defensive team, now what are you going to do? Like what's your second move? Like what's your counter punch? Right? Like, is there a guy that you can just give the ball and go and, shoot elbow jumpers? You know what I mean? Like, it's like some of these shots that are considered to be less efficient, shots, but when the defense is taking away everything else, like that's the counter punch, right? Like and you see teams that like have a lot of success, going to that. And like, I don't know exactly what the equivalent of that is in the NFL, but I do know that there are teams that can light it up all season long for 30, and then whenever they play a really good defense, they have no answer. And there are teams that are an average offense and above average offense, but if they play a good defense, like they do have that counter punch where they can still get 18, 20 points. Like they're not going to light anybody up. And like we have not been that team, right? We've been the team that's going to put up 30 points a game every season, be a top 5 offense, and then we go play the 49ers and we score 12 points, right? And like we have to be a team, we have to be an offense that is versatile and that has answers when the defense is taking stuff away, right? Like we have to just be like, all right, like we're just going to give it to Tony Pollard and we're going to get 4 yards every play. Or like we're going to we're going to target, Jake Ferguson 12 times, or, Michael Gallup is stretching the field. Like, we need to have a lot of different things that we can. It's not just about scoring points in the regular season. It's about having lots of moves, having lots of punches and counter punches, so that a defense can't come in and just shut you down and hold you to 12 points. To me, that's going to be the key this season. And if we can add more moves to our arsenal, our offensive arsenal, then yeah, you pencil us in. That's what I'd say.
Like I said, my parting shot, it's super accurate. I'm telling you, and I said this earlier. What you're describing is what I said. Play action, and our moves, because you ain't seen a lot of play action from us, but you're gonna see a lot this year. Our moves is gonna be Dak going back to shotgun and having 4 receivers he could kill you with.
Yeah,
that's gonna be the difference.
You've been stressing Dak friendly offense for a long time now, and I think it's exactly right.
And it's gonna wear your behind out with it. Run.
I agree.
Run. Play action. Deep man. Touchdown. Run. Play action. Deep man. Touchdown. Run. Play action. Over the middle. Got a first down. That's just how it's gonna look. And then when we get stressed and y'all are stopping that, gonna put Dak back there in the shotgun, and then have Deuce as the running back, and it's on. What you want? Pick your poison. It's going down. But I said it like this. This was my parting shot, and I'm gone after this. We're done. If we're in the top 10, scoring over 27 points a game, pencil us in the Super Bowl.
All right.
Hey, for my man, Tom, for myself, we are out of here. We're going to holler at you guys. Make sure that you listen to us. And while you're listening to us on Spotify and on Apple Music, make sure you give us a 5-star rating, man. Tell us what you like. Man. Please do that. But for myself, for Tom, we out of here. We're going to holler at y'all. Peace.